We talk a ton about disinformation, right? But today, we're going to go a little deeper. We're not just talking about what it is, but how we fight it. And we're going to ask a pretty critical question. What if our whole approach is, well, missing the point entirely?
And look, the stakes here are incredibly high. This quote from the Carnegie Endowment really drives it home. We're not talking about some niche internet thing. Nope. Experts see this as a direct, pressing threat to democracies all over the world. You've seen the usual playbook, I'm sure. The little warning labels on social media posts, the constant talk about fact-checking everything, or all those campaigns trying to make us more media literate. That's basically our frontline defense. But, and this is the big but that this whole explainer is about, what if all that stuff, as well-intentioned as it is just a Band-Aid? What if we're just treating the symptoms while the actual disease, the root cause, is just getting worse underneath it all?
All right, so to even begin to answer that, let's first take a look at what's actually in our toolkit right now. What are the established, expert-approved ways we're supposed to be fighting back?
The experts at the Carnegie Endowment have this idea they call a portfolio approach, and it's a good way to think about it, kind of like investing. You don't put all your money in one stock, right? So here, you've got your short-term moves, like fact-checking and slapping labels on posts. But you also have your long-term plays, like supporting local journalism or improving media literacy. The whole idea is to hit the problem from a bunch of different angles at once.
And some of these tools are actually pretty clever. Take counter-messaging. This is not just about shouting facts at people until they believe you. It's way more psychological. It's built on the idea that people believe stuff for emotional reasons, not always logical ones. So this strategy uses trusted voices and emotional appeals to fight disinformation on its own turf, the battlefield of stories and feelings.
Okay, so that all sounds pretty good, doesn't it? We've got a whole portfolio of smart, sophisticated tools. But this is where the story takes a sharp turn, because the reality of this fight, well, it's a lot messier than it looks. And the thing is, even the experts who came up with these ideas are super clear about their limits. The report says it outright. There is no silver bullet, no single magic fix for this. So why is it so darn hard? Well, because this stuff has incredibly deep roots. Think of it like supply and demand. On the supply side, you've got powerful groups with big political or financial reasons to pump out lies. But then there's the demand side, and that's us. It's about the very real, very human psychological needs that make us, well, want to believe those lies sometimes.
And this right here is the absolute key. Our solutions, the fact checks, the labels, the algorithms, they're all very technical. They're technocratic. We're applying these neat, orderly, technical fixes to what is, at its core, a messy, profound, human problem. And what the research is telling us is that these fixes just aren't enough when they go up against those deep social and psychological forces.
Okay, so this is the point where we need to take a big step back. We need to reframe the whole question. We need a much deeper diagnosis. And to get there, we're going to have to go back in time to a thinker who kind of saw all this coming nearly 70 years ago.
So what if the fake news articles, the memes, the individual lies, what if they aren't the real problem? What if the real problem is the entire system, the whole mindset that churns out not just the disinformation, but also the very solutions we're trying to use against it? The clues might just be hiding in the past. Let's go back to 1954. A French sociologist, Jacques Ellul, he comes out with this book that offers a radical and honestly kind of terrifying diagnosis of the modern world.
His big idea was a concept he called technique. Now, this is super important. When he says technique, he doesn't just mean technology or machines. For him, it's a whole mindset. It's this relentless obsession with finding the one best way, the most efficient, rational method for absolutely everything.
And Ellul's warning was that in a world completely run by this technique mindset, human values, like morality, tradition, you name it, they just get bulldozed. Efficiency becomes the only thing that matters. And in that world, he wrote, we humans get reshaped to serve that system. We become, in his very chilling words, the king of the slaves of technique.
Okay, so let's pull this back to right now. How does this idea from, 70 years ago about a society obsessed with efficiency, how does that help us understand our problem with disinformation today?
So, according to Ellul, this whole logic plays out in a few steps. First, every problem starts to look like a technical problem that needs a technical solution.
Simple enough. But then, this drive for efficiency kind of takes on a life of its own. It becomes autonomous, just chasing efficiency for efficiency's sake, ignoring everything else. In the endgame, he called it a sham universe, a world where the only things that seem real are the things we can measure and optimize.
And here's the punchline. Think about our solutions for disinformation again. Algorithmic content moderation, automated fact-checking software, even those media literacy checklists. What are they? They're just more technique. They are all attempts to apply a neat, rational, efficient, measurable fix to a fundamentally messy human problem. We are literally trying to fight technique with more technique.
So what this all means is that we might be stuck in a feedback loop. We've got this problem, disinformation, that's being supercharged by a system obsessed with efficiency, engagement metrics, clicks, shares. And our big answer is to build more efficient technical systems to fight it. And that leaves us with one last, really unsettling question to chew on. Can a system ever truly fix a problem that it was designed to create in the first place?